Are these guys actually this good? Probably not. Who is going to regress? Who might be a sell high? Who is Michael Bolton?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and Stacey's mum has got it going on. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free, we're available on all platforms, and we are part of the number one sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network. So thank you for the push. Thank you for making us that. I appreciate it. We're talking overperformers, regression candidates, sell highs, however you want to frame it. That's what we're doing. Go. Before we get into those 6 names, I'm going to look back at how we did on this 2 weeks ago, where I put out a bunch of names where I said, I think they're going to drop, and we'll see whether they did. Remember, if you have these players, you don't have to move on from them. You can. I just think their production is going to dip. If you don't have these players, be wary if you receive an offer with them in a trade. Be wary about trying to acquire them, because there are some things that are happening that I don't think are going to hold. And if they're on your team, just have some expectations that things might change. So, how did it look? As I tell you all these things that might happen, was I right 2 weeks ago? Let's have a look. I had Miles Bridges as a regression candidate. Miles Bridges was 24th. Since then, he is 36th. Okay. Right? We take that. And now we've got Brandon Miller back, and it is going to drop even further. So, happy with the trajectory there. Brandon Ingram was 29th. Brandon Ingram, since then, is 49th. And that's about realistic for him. I think 40 to 70 is a totally reasonable range for Ingram. Cool. Hartenstein, the big fella, he was 23rd. Since then, 74th. That was an incredibly easy one, I thought. There was just so much that he was doing that didn't make any sense in terms of continuity. And here we are. And we still don't have Jalen Williams back. Norman Powell. Well, he was 41st. We talked about Powell saying that it is a sell high, but you're going to take short-term pain on it, which you do for nearly any sell high. But nearly always on a sell high, for it to be successful, you will lose in the short term. Powell is 50th since we did that, so it's a small win. But now he's injured, and now Hero and Bam are both back. So it's about to get worse for Powell. And then his teammate, Triple H, Jaime Jaquez Jr., he was 49th. He's 185th since then. Now, I've talked about for the last week that I think Jaime might be moving towards a drop. That number would tell you that he's already there. I don't know that I want to do it yet, especially with Powell and Wiggins currently sidelined. But he's not performing well. And this whole redemption of Jaquez from the start of the season, he's back, he's all this. Again, this is where this is nothing against Jaime, of course. This is just when the way that media is presented, there's so much talk about how good Jaquez was, and he's back in business, and he's an awesome player, and he's going to win 6th Man of the Year. And last season there was just something wrong, and now that he's dropped back off to be not good again for this little time frame, no one talks about it. So the narrative that a lot of people would still have is Jaime's been great this season. Yeah, but he hasn't for the last couple of weeks. And this is not to say that he won't re-improve or stay the same or get worse. It's more just, how do you consume your media? Because everyone told you how good Jaime was, what a bounce back, how important he's been, but it's nothing when he sucks. So we still have that idea that he was great. Don't know which way it's going to go. But that's, again, it's just more about where are you getting your information? What are you seeing? What is influencing your thoughts? I'm going to influence your thoughts on a guy that we had as a buy low player. And it worked out brilliantly. Let's try to double dip. Let's double bang. Shall we sell high on Des Bane? We should. Now, the way that I create these sell highs and buy lows is I have a bunch of spreadsheets. I have some formulae in those. Numbers are inputted. It throws me a list of 25 names. to have a look at in terms of where stats are and projections, and I pick the ones that I think are most interesting to talk about. But I also use the information that I have through trawling fantasy basketball communities. I'm a massive trawler. Just reading things, listening to comments. And I talked about this yesterday. Someone telling me, hey, we need to bump Desmond Bane's projections way up now. I went, oh, here we go. And then his name popped up in my sell high statistical analysis because part of the reason is, yeah, he was performing poorly. But part of the reason is Paolo Banchero's out. So Desmond Bane he's doing the thing. The opportunity has improved, and he's tying in that improved opportunity by hitting 42% of his threes. I think he's missed one free throw over the last 2 weeks. He's at 97% from the line. He's up to 5 free throw attempts per game. He is the 32nd ranked player over that time. I have been very consistent, I think, with Bane this season. I have got him outside the top 50. I got him 69th rest of season, which again, the number doesn't matter that much. It's between 50 and 80, that sort of area, right? His fantasy points, I've got him at 30, almost 33. He's averaging 36. He's at 21, 5, and 5 with a steal per game and 2.4 threes. And you go, that's very similar to his Memphis numbers. You're right, it is. Why is that? Because in Memphis, he was the number 2 guy. In Orlando currently, he's the number 2 guy. And when Banchero is back, he will not be. So usage will come down. And he's also tying it in with absolutely elite 3-point shooting and free throw shooting. So drop the free throws down to 89, still great, but it's almost 10 percentage points. Your threes might go to 38, maybe 39. It's all going to fall. Free throw attempts down, usage down. Free throws down, 3-pointers down. And there's a window here. Again, I don't know that anyone is going to buy into it, but I do know that at least one person, and when there's one, there is many, one person's like, well, you've got to the projections have to be changed. It's got to be bumped up. Because there's a belief that he's just back to being Desmond Bane. And you use that. Or you just enjoy what's happening and understand that there's probably going to be some level of regression coming. That's I don't think that's a controversial comment, but maybe it is. Should we go to Indiana? Let's talk about Andy Nembhard. Because Nembhard, obviously, some high hopes at times for him heading into this season. No Tyrese Halliburton. And then he got hurt, I think, first game. And we didn't really see anything. He's 56th over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 33 fantasy points, which, honestly, is probably about what he can do. So for a points league, I think that he's not far off. He's averaging 20 points with 6.5 assists and 2 threes a game. He's not a high steals or blocks guy, and he's not delivering high steals or blocks. He's not giving you any rebounds. He's hitting 88% from the line. But Andrew Nembhard, and this is key, this is the thing that he is doing. Andrew Nembhard is hitting 44% from 3. And I just don't believe it. I just, simple as that. I do not buy that he is that guy. Last season, 29% from 3. So that's a fair improvement, isn't it? The season before, 35. The season before, 35. All right? I just don't buy it. You could knock 10 percentage points off that, and I'd say that's about right. And then, of course, that would mean instead of hitting 2.1 threes per game, you're like 1.4, which is 1.5 points off his mark, which makes him an 18.5 point per game player. The field goal percentage drops down to 44, and we're in the 90s. It's honestly just as simple as that. One of the if you can't remember everything I say, and why would you? It's annoying to listen to me all the time. But if you can remember one thing that I say about determining value in fantasy, well, there's a lot of things, but we'll focus on this one thing. 3-point percentage is the hidden category that controls fantasy value. It is the hidden category. Why is it the hidden category? Most of the leagues don't count it. But 3-point percentage controls 3 separate individual categories in category leagues. Field goal percentage, 3-pointers made, and points. You have a hot streak from 3, those 3 things go up. You have a cold streak from 3, those 3 things go down. That is 33% of the standard categories, influenced by one stat that you don't normally track. So if ever a player is out of his mind, if ever a player is struggling, your first thing should be, what's he shooting from 3? And that'll give you at least a starting point to analyze what he's doing. So with Nembhard, people thought he could be a top 75 player. He's exceeding that. I didn't. I've got him like around 100. Right? So the buy or the sell high scenario to me is like, you don't have to like get a top 60 guy back. If you can, lovely. look, if I got a top 75 guy back, I'd be pretty happy with it. Because I just don't believe that he's going to shoot that well. And I don't think he's going to be a high steals guy. And the assists will stay around here. They're not going to be blowing us away. So, it's great. I like it. But I do expect a level of regression coming here from the big fella, or the small fella, however you want to phrase him, little fella, tiny fella, Andy Nembhard. We'll come back and we will talk about some guys who are, I don't know, interesting to you, I'm pretty sure, for today's episode. It is brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season is here, and nothing beats being there live in the arena for all of the games for your favorite team. But getting tickets in the past, it's proven to be a real pain. Yeah, you got to wait in queues sometimes. They throw a hidden fee on at checkout. The prices just surge out of nowhere. Like, what are you doing? That wasn't that price yesterday. Now it's this price. Come on. What's going on here? Game Time is the app that gives you the advantage. It is the ultimate life hack for securing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. It is so simple. You can get your tickets in minutes. You can see exactly what you're going to see from those seats with the view. You can see the price right there. You don't have to worry about what additional fees get tacked on at the end. And you can even find NBA tickets for as little as $25. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. All right, we are talking buy lows. We are talking sell highs. Players, we're not talking buy lows, actually. I'm lying. We're talking sell highs. We're talking regression candidates. We're talking guys who are, I believe, set to drop. And I think you knew that this was going to happen. I think you knew we were going to talk about this man. But we have to talk about Superman, Kel'el Ware. I don't like being painted as a Kel'el Ware hater because I am very much not that. I was above him in his actual draft. I was very, very keen to have him in the top 100 for fantasy drafts this season. I was very vocal about Spoelstra playing him last season. I think he's going to be an absolutely game-changing fantasy player. And if he gets things sorted, real life, he's going to be awesome. I actually really like Kel'el Ware. And so I don't want you to think that I'm being a hater. But I'm never going to just blindly Dutch rudder a situation when it doesn't make sense to me. And that's what it is with Ware. I can tell you that I think he should be playing big minutes. I can tell you that I think he's obviously very good at fantasy and an impactful NBA player. But I also have to acknowledge the realities of what's going on. Let's just get it out of the way. He has not done anything good in a game where Wiggins and Bam have played. He started for Bam, unbelievably good. Bam came back, he played 18 minutes off the bench. Now, in that game, he grabbed 16 rebounds. Fantastic. Probably not going to expect someone to grab a rebound a minute as we move forward. Not going to happen. Then Wiggins got hurt, so he started in place of Wiggins because there was no Wiggins or Jovic. And he's been very good in all of these games. Now, again, he closed one of them, and I even think in that last game yesterday, I think he actually came out for the final like 30 seconds or whatever. But he only played 26 minutes the game before. He's been awesome. But I don't really care what Eric Spoelstra says in the press conferences until I see him do it. Until I see Ware played 30 minutes or 26 minutes next to Bam with Wiggins at the 3, then I will believe that that is what he's going to do moving forward. Because he's never shown that he wants to do that. And that, all of that, right, you can have those arguments. Well, they've got to develop him. Look how impactful he is. Look at what he did yesterday. You can have all of that. That ignores all of these other factors here. Where, over the last, and which we're going to talk about it, we can even ignore that role. Where over the last 2 weeks is the 23rd ranked player. Ridiculously good. Come off the bench for one of those games. He's averaging 41 fantasy points. Ridiculously good. He's averaging 16 and 14 with 1.6 blocks and a steal. Unbelievably good. 86 from the line and 57 from the field. Unbelievably good. I don't think he's going to play 29 minutes a game. I don't think he's going to average 16 points or 14 rebounds. But I'll tell you what I know is not going to happen. He's not going to shoot 53% from 3. He just isn't. So, whatever you think about the role, will Spo keep starting him, playing him 30 minutes a night? Whatever you think about it. He is not going to shoot this well. It is just not going to happen. So you're already knocking that off. He's also somehow up to 86 from the line. I'll have some skepticism that that's going to hold. Again, I like him a lot. Nothing to me would suggest that he is now an absolutely elite of elite free throw shooters. I think he can be a good free throw shooter. But we also saw a center who turned into a good free throw shooter who's fallen back off again, Jalen Duren. This happens. He's at 82 for the season. He was at 69 giggity last season. That's a huge jump, man. That's a huge jump. I'm not ready to say that he's that guy. His usage is up. His rebounds are up. His minutes are up. And importantly, his shooting is up because he's doing the thing. Increased minutes, increased usage, increased efficiency, all at the same time, making him appear better than he is. You can say I've got him as the 85th ranked player rest of season. I'm not telling you that you need to necessarily go and drop him, but if Bam plays 34 minutes and he is strictly going to be Bam's backup, which I don't know, that's 14 minutes a night, and that's terrible. But I don't know that that's going to happen, and I think they will try to get some crossover going. But it also, 3 games ago, there was 0 minutes of crossover. That's not 3 weeks, that is 3 games ago. So there has, I am very certain there has to be a drop. Now you might say, how do you sell high? Who is actually buying into this? It's a good question. I don't know. But I know that anytime I talk about Ware, whether it's here on the show, on Twitter, on Basketball Monster, there'll be someone that says this is ridiculous. Why wouldn't he? He can keep doing this. Look at his per minute numbers. So somebody believes it. There are people who believe that even if he doesn't do this, he might do 80% of this. Which 80% of this is a top 50 player, top 40 player. I'd very happily take back that sort of a guy for him. And my ranking there of him being a top 80 or top 90 guy rest of season is based on him playing about 24 minutes a night, 25 minutes a night. Which means that he's either crossing over with Bam or Bam and Wiggins are missing extended time, which is possible. But if we get to a scenario where he is strictly a backup, it's going to be bad. It is going to be bad. So I just, again, want to prepare people for it and make sure that my position is pretty clear on that. Let's go to Milwaukee. Again, one of these players that we loved picking up. I love Ryan Rollins. Again, I think that he has been an absolute steal off the waiver wire. I wanted him to be the starter opening night. I think he makes more sense as the starter opening night. Kevin Porter came in, played 5 minutes, got hurt, done. Haven't seen him since. Got hurt in his recovery with his knee after an ankle injury. He's out for a while. Rollins is the 61st ranked player over the last 2 weeks. And again, the common refrain from, I'm guessing, people who added him in fantasy. Well, he's playing this well, Doc can't possibly bench him. Glenn Rivers could do anything. He started Jericho Sims last game. Like, do not utter a phrase, no way Doc can do this, because I'll guarantee you, Doc can do it. Doc can do something dumb at any point. It happens all the time. Rollins is averaging 21, 5, and 6.5 assists over the last 2 weeks. He's shooting 40% from 3, with 47% overall from the field. He's averaging 37 fantasy points. I don't know whether he starts over Kevin Porter. I don't know whether they start him and Porter together and move Big Boom AJ to the bench. No idea. They could do that. Or Kuzma goes to the bench and Green slides up. All possible. But we are seeing 2 things happen at the moment. Rollins is putting up great numbers. His efficiency, he's at 30 usage, guys. 30. His scoring, his assists, his shot attempts, his 3-point percentage. And he's a very good 3-point shooter, very good. But we can talk about Porter, who might be coming back in the next week or two. I'm not sure yet. But Giannis is out. So both of those guys are out. So he's about to get double whacked. And even if you don't think that he loses the spot to Porter or they start together, which I think are both reasonable positions. I don't know either way. I'm not convinced either way. I don't think it's a guarantee. But even if your best case scenario happens and he remains starting, Porter is not going to stand around like AJ Green and not touch the ball. Giannis is not going to say, all right, Ryan, your show now. They're not going to happen. Kevin Porter is going to have the ball in his hands. He's going to demand touches and usage. Giannis is obviously going to do that. So irrespective of whether they play together, Porter and Rollins, or Rollins starts over Porter, whatever, there'll be some crossover. And everything that he's doing at the moment is going to get slashed. We absolutely do not drop him because we want to see what happens. He could be a top 80 to 90 guy, but also he might be 140th. If he suffers a downturn, gets double whacked, and plays 22 minutes as a reserve guard. I don't think that'll happen, but I don't think you can 100% rule that out at this point. We've got a couple more names to talk about, and of course, I will. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by Drip Drop. When you're hydrated, everything just works better. Works for me, my focus, my energy, my mood, even my glowing, lustrous skin. That slight shimmer you see, that's not glittered foundation. That's Drip Drop. Now, Drip Drop might not give you those results, but what it is doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half of the sugar of leading brands, using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, former AFL footballers turned firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. Drip Drop is a part of my daily routine. Stick it into my water bottle in the morning, drink it down. I feel good. It gives me that boost that I need to get through the day. So many great flavors as well, and it can be your secret weapon for staying sharp. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That is dripdrop.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNBA for 20% off. Stock up now, right before it gets too busy, before you forget. And keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. Shall we go into the next batch of sell high? Guys, I've got 2 more names that I want to talk about. And we're going to go to a guy that we talked about, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, about the discrepancy in his ranking depending on the system you're in. He's a bit of a 9-cat fluff, or is he a 9-cat buy low? I don't remember, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker is absolutely cooking at the moment. Alexander-Walker is a very clear must-roster player. Alexander-Walker was a clear must-roster player as soon as Trae Young went down, and I thought he was pretty close to a must-roster player before that. Rest of season, I've got NAW as 110th. He's 40th the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 37 fantasy points. He is also, very common thing here, he is also doing the thing. Because there's no Trae, and his usage is up, but he's hitting 40% from 3. He's playing 1 million minutes. He's hitting 2 threes, almost 3 threes a game with 4 assists. He's also somehow blocking a shot a game. And he's at 50% from the field. He's at 58% on his 2s overall. He's got a 63 true shooting. Just none of that's going to hold. He loses usage when Trae comes back. And you're going to see a drop in the shooting numbers. Probably the block numbers. Maybe even the assist numbers. But he's like a 30-minute guy most likely when Young plays. He's getting like 34, 35 at the moment. Pair those minutes with usage, with elite shooting, with out-of-nowhere defensive stats, and you're talking about an awesome player. And he's been great. And I don't know exactly when Trae's coming back, but this is what I'm talking about when we talk sell highs. You got to take a short-term haircut. You're going to lose out. You cannot trade Nickeil Alexander-Walker the day that it's announced that Trae Young is coming back the next game. Oh, I timed that perfectly, didn't I? Like if you're working in a situation playing a game like Supercoach or you're playing a game like Fantasy Premier League where you're trading to nobody, you're trading to the void, then that's obviously when you do it. But we're trading with real people here. That other person needs to think they're getting a victory out of it. Now, most people aren't going to be that dumb, but some are. I see it every day. I see dumbness all the time. Some of it coming from this chair where I'm sitting. Obviously not when I'm in it, but still from this chair. But Alexander Walker is going to drop. So be prepared. Don't get fleeced if someone offers you him in a trade, and try and move on and lose out in the short term. Losing out in the short term also way more viable earlier in the season because it's not the end of the season. He's going to drop off in many areas. Assists, blocks, field goals, three-pointers made, scoring, usage, minutes. It's all going to come crashing down. To a droppable area? Probably not, but it might be. It might be, because he's not going to be a starter. Although, no, he's not going to be a starter. The last guy I want to talk about fits into our 9-cat fluffer zone. And what do I mean by 9-cat fluffer? I mean if there is somebody in your league that religiously adheres to the rankings that get put forward on Yahoo for 9-cat leagues, the straight 9-cat numbers, that they'll tell you, well, we can't do this trade because he's actually the 30th best player, and you have given me the 70th best player, and Giannis is actually the 60th best guy, so he can't be possibly ahead of Josh Hart, who was 13th, right? If there's someone who is adhering to those numbers, which I have illustrated, and I will do more in-depth stuff in this in the offseason, illustrated the folly in doing that. This is someone whose current numbers in that particular system make them look awesome. And we're going to Portland to talk about Donovan Clingan. Because Donovan Clingan struggled for big portions of this season. He couldn't really stay on the court. Thiago Splitter kept taking him off, playing him 24, 25 minutes. But recently, things have been looking better. Now, I'll read you his stat profile. If you're watching this on video, you can already see the rank. So don't spoil it for the audio people. He's averaging 13 and 11 with 2 assists. Sorry, let me be fair. 13 points, 11.4 rebounds, 2.3 assists. With 0.5 steals, 1.9 blocks, 51.9 from the field, 76.2 from the line. Hitting 1-3 a game. I'll give you the bases again. 13, 11, and 2 with 2 blocks on 52% and 76 from the line. Nike rankings tell you that's the 23rd best player, 27th best player. I say, you're joking, yeah? You're joking. That's a borderline second round guy. Good luck. Good luck. My ranking system deliciously has him at number 69. Which, even I look at that and go, really? Okay. Yeah. 2 blocks, 1-3, 11 rebounds. Very good. Above average field goals. Solid. Average free throws. Nice. But come on. And there's a lot of reasons why his numbers are actually up. His minutes have been pushed up with the absence of Shaedon Sharpe and Drew Holiday. And the offense has been very different with those guys out. So you're going to get Shaedon back, Scoot back, Drew back, or Scoot's a million years away. And like the discrepancy between what I believe Clingan's real value is versus his perceived value is pretty sizable. I think Clingan is more an 80 to 100 ranked player rest of season. So he's got a little boost at the moment. So he's a bit of a sell high because of how well he's playing, but also because of like if someone is adhering to that number and you could get any top 50 player, I'd immediately do it. I'd have no question about doing that. Because I don't see any way that those numbers should represent to you a player who is basically one of your first or second best guys. Because that's what that number is suggesting. Yeah, okay, third best guy. Early third round. Which, again, doesn't add up to me. And that is a show on sell highs. We talked about Kel'el Ware, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Andrew Nembhard, Desmond Bane, Ryan Rollins, and of course Donovan Clingan. And what you can do is talk to your friends about the dangers of not listening to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast or not thumbing up and subscribing to the video and the audio and double banging. It's an important public service announcement, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.